and welcome everyone. I'm thrilled that you've decided to join me on this journey towards building a little confidence and gaining self acceptance. So, before we dive in, I want to take a moment to remind everyone that this is truly a safe place where each one of us or everyone should feel comfortable in asking questions, voicing your concerns, or sharing whatever you feel. So, what happens here in this group stays in this group, and we're all here for one another. So, please feel free to make sure I can add the chat and then put the chat box up so that I can actually see. Um, Normally, Tina and I run this together, so we normally have, um, well, I'm in trouble, kids. I've got printed off the wrong PowerPoint. Oh no! Oh crap! And I can't find it. Anyways, that's okay. We've all gone through various incarnations of trouble. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Just fire on the chat to tell me that someone is alive, because one of the downsizes here that I don't get to see who's online yet. It takes a while before that shows up. Yeah. Okay. Finally, I have the right one. So normally Tina is online with me, but today she had a conflicting event. So she chose that she needed to not chose. She knew she needed to be at another event. So I'm going to do my best to provide you a quality webinar. So my name is Neil Thrussell. I am with Best You Can Be. Together, Tina and I have got over 15 years of coaching, facilitating, life enhancing individual and group work. Uh, so if at any time that you just want to know information and you don't want to use the comment box, but you can send us an email at info@shindao, and you can ask for you can ask for some of the resources that we've used if you want, and just put your send writing your story in the subject line and just add it into info@shindao. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. So, what do your thoughts in your head tell you? If you were to explain what type of person you were, what would you say? Would you focus on your appearance? Would you describe your personality? Or how would you describe your personality? What would you list off as your accomplishments? The way we think of ourselves in private creates a perspective that can be hard to shake when it comes to taking advantages, opportunities, taking risks, and ultimately reaching our goals. Oh, I'm in a squeaky chair. I apologize that. So one of the first things we're going to ask you to do as you go on this journey of rewriting who you are is stop comparing yourself to others. Many of us gain our insecurities by comparing ourselves to other people. In reality, the closer you are to something, the more flaws you can see. So even the most perfect, and I put that in quotes, perfect celebrity is still just a regular person with doubts, fears, and things that they dislike about themselves. So, so who do you compare yourself to? And if you're choose to, just share it in the comments and we'll can talk about it. So don't compare yourself behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And by that I mean, with all the social media we're exposed to in these days, it's easy to assume that our lives are dull and insignificant compared to what we see and we scroll through someone else's highlight reel. There's on Instagram, somebody got outed because she took a whole bunch of Instagram pictures in IKEA, high-end department stores. She went down on into a boat dock and stood in front of a yacht, and she was great with the camera, so it looked like she was on and in all of these places. So people were just wowed by her lifestyle, and it was uh, a facade. So keep in mind what might look like your best vacation ever comes with some letdowns and disappointments. We just don't see them on people's news feeds. So, as a quick aside, do you use social media? Which platforms do you use the most, and how does it make you feel when you're using it? And this is true. Everyone's on their own timeline. Do you sometimes feel as you're falling behind? Uh, well, in my height, I grew when I was a kid. I was tall, boom, instantly. Like it seemed like I was tall right out of the womb. But to get any weight on this skeleton, oh, it took to almost in my 30s before I broke 150 pounds at 6 foot tall. So when you see your friends and family getting engaged, graduating with degrees, traveling, buying homes, getting a dream job, and achieving their goals, it can seem as though we're not doing enough. I'm not successful enough. What is the last thing you saw or even heard that made you feel this way? It's a great question. What's the last thing that you saw or heard that made you feel like you were being left behind? Oh, yeah. Do your mistakes keep you up at night? Every one of us has made mistakes in our lives. I don't know anyone that has never made a mistake. If you know someone that has never made a mistake, please, please, please share that with me. Share who they are. But the key is the way we think about our mistakes is all about perspective. Instead of thinking about mistakes as something you failed at, consider whether it could be a blessing in disguise, a lesson, something that you needed to learn or you're learning from. Sometimes we get blessings in disguise and we don't really like them, but we learn so much from them. So, if you agree with the following statement, just like it, send us an email. I feel ashamed of something I did in the past. You don't have to share what it is or what it was, just that whether you felt ashamed at some point in time because of your actions. I know I have. I've said something to somebody that I shouldn't have. I was cross. I was angry. Um, yeah, just many, many things. So this is an interesting one. Shame versus guilt. Have you ever considered the difference between shame and guilt? Guilt can be a positive thing, which motivates us towards better behavior. For example, apologizing for breaking a glass at a friend's house. So you've done something to hurt them and you're feeling guilty. And it can be used as a motivation for better behavior, as long as it's not causing you to go to shame. So guilt, you can say, oh, I feel guilty about it. But shame, however, is a paralyzing global assessment of oneself as a person. Shame can come from the lens of which all self evaluation is viewed. Another way to think about the difference between guilt and shame is being told or thinking that we did something bad versus being told or thinking that we are something bad. It's like I can feel guilty because I broke a glass at a friend's house on my own, and that's guilt. Shame is when my friend looks at me, aren't you going to apologize? And then I feel that emotion, which it most likely comes as shame. Shame can arise from all sorts of experiences, but is usually cultivated by the belittlement of our efforts and achievements or ideas. They may be conveyed in repeated statements such as, why are you doing it that way? What are you thinking? Why can't you be more like? And in many cases, I have a brother who I love dearly. Intellectually, he grasped things quicker than I did. So lots of times, why can't you be more like my brother? But the converse was that I was more athletic and sports minded, so he would get, why can't you be more like? Shame can also come from traumas such as physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, as well as neglect, especially during childhood. Think about it. When the adults in your life who are supposed to know best tell you that you're wrong, you're likely to, internalize that feeling for a very, very long time. We carry it forever. If somebody could, when an adult looks at us and goes, "What's wrong with you? Are you stupid?" We carry that for, a very, very long time. The less we talk about our shame, the more power it has over our lives. If we cultivate our awareness about shame and name it for what it is, we can cut it off and lessen the power over us. Moving beyond shame means acknowledging and sharing our experiences with trusted people in our lives. The people that know us, that we aren't perfect, but love us anyways. Their empathy will allow us to feel a sense of perspective and come up with strategies for dealing with. Here's a quote from shame and vulnerability researcher and author Dr. Bernie Brown. When we bury the story, we forever stay the subject of the story. If we own the story, we get to narrate the ending. And just to add to that, ask people or tell them that you want to share with them an experience where you're feeling a little bit of shame so they know to, to put their empathy in, or that they know that the people you're telling uh, can be in the right frame of mind. If you've just had an argument with someone and you're now going to tell them something that you feel ashamed about, they may not receive it, which could further hamper or harm you and deepen your shame. So, next time you start feeling down on yourself, think about the vocabulary you're using to describe your feelings. When you feel bad about something, do you really feel guilty, embarrassed, or humiliated? Well, all of these feelings are uncomfortable. They don't take aim at our self worth the same way shame does. When you slip and fall, you're embarrassed, but you know that everyone slips and falls, and it's not a failure on your part as a person. So taking the time to analyze what you're feeling and why will help you untangle your demons and step down a more constructive path as you move forward. This is true. Who you were does not define who you are. The past is really truly in the past. And when we leave it there, we become more open to acceptance. And that acceptance is from ourself. When we leave our troubled youth, our way of thinking of what we did in the past, our future looks much brighter. And I know it's hard to let go of the past because we feel as though it's a big part of who we currently are. And you need to remind yourself every decision that you made in the past was done to the best of your ability with the tools and mindset you had at the time. Everything you've learned from those experiences has shaped you into the person you are today. And hindsight is 2020. So if you had the knowledge you had right here and right now, you might not have made the same choices in those decisions you made in the past. So cut yourself some slack and forgive yourself. So who you are today is more capable, better educated, and a more understanding person than you were before, all because you've experienced more life. Your life is a companion with whom you have a long-term relationship with. Let me say this again. Your life is a companion with whom you have a long term relationship. Every relationship has its ups and downs, its lulls, and action scenes. Thinking this way helps you picture your life as a whole rather than a simple series of events. So when you think of your life as something you have a relationship with, it's easier to adjust your attitude to create what you want out of it. You'll discover that when you change the way you think about your life, and you'll be able to play a more proactive role in it. It sounds simple, but it can be that simple. So you need to nurture that relationship with self. Any relationship is capable of falling into disconnection and conflict when not nurtured. When problems are ignored, or when you start going on autopilot into, when you start going into autopilot mode for too long, you need to step back and gain some perspective. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch over here. Okay. So back to when problems are ignored, you start going into autopilot. You need to step back and gain some perspective into your life. Think about where you are in your life. Ask yourself, how are you feeling? Are there problems that keep you from moving forward and feeling fulfilled? By reflecting on the relationship regularly, and that's the relationship with self, and making adjustments accordingly, you will learn it's not as difficult as you might think to change tracks and head in a new direction. You're the life's narrator. You're the director, the producer, the main character in your life. It is shaped by your own perceptions, which are created from your belief system. And we've done a PowerPoint, we've done a webinar on your belief system. So, in other words, your reality is based entirely on the way you think about things. So, right now, you're creating your own reality based on the stories you're telling yourself and the way you interpret the world around you. Whether you're getting value from this uh, webinar, whether you were waiting, you're just waiting for Neil to know, oh, he's going to sell me something at the very end. Or, well, he's not giving me anything that I don't already know. You have these belief systems and these values, and it's something you need to acknowledge yourself for and deal with it. Knowing you have these, recognize your belief system and honor it. So next time, we all have triggers. So next time you feel especially down or you're waiting for the next shoe to drop, You find yourself spiraling, trying to figure out what the negativity stemmed from. Was there something you saw on TV? Was it something you said? What was the subject matter? Did it have to do with parents, friends, childhood? Take a look at why you got triggered from a place of outside of you, from a place of calm objective, sometimes called the third person point of view. Do your best to connect the dots that will help you identify your triggers and what makes you feel especially emotional. Do you know what your triggers are? Can you name them out loud? If you'd like, share them in the comment section. This is an important piece. When you feel triggered, have a plan to interrupt the downward spiral. Unfortunately, many people turn to things like alcohol, drugs, or other unhealthy distractions to help you deal with the pain. But there are better ways to redirect these your negative thoughts. Right now, what do you do to deal with your negative thoughts? That's an honest question. What do you do to deal with your negative thoughts? A mantra it's a saying. It's a repeatable. For example, if you feel unloved, repeat the phrase, I am enough and I am worthy of love. If you're feeling ashamed of something, try, the past is the past and I'm capable of writing the next chapter, however I see fit. If you're feeling lost, repeat the words, I trust my intuition and things come to easily to me. Mine is I am healthy, happy, whole, and sometimes I put wealthy in there. So I'm some wealthy, happy, whole. So I go on wealthy, happy, whole. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I'm happy, whole. I'm whole. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. And just say it a few times, and then let it settle into. There are millions of mantras that you can make your own. Just be sure that all the words you use are positive and don't use words like can't, shouldn't, couldn't, don't. Does anybody here online already use a mantra? The next piece to helping you interrupt these negative thoughts is some self care. Self care refers to the focus on one's own physical, mental, and spiritual well being of happiness. Self care might mean taking yourself for a walk in the park. If you feel yourself staring out a window, cooking a nutritious meal for yourself, or planning a night out with friends, whatever makes you feel good. So, in order to properly participate in self care, you must learn how to listen to your body and tune in with what it wants. If you're feeling depressed, understand that your body is probably telling you to switch things up and change the way you've been treating it. When you're feeling achy, that's your cue to take a few minutes to stretch or maybe do some yoga. If you're feeling tired for no reason, get out and move. Give your body a reason to be tired. Self care sounds crazy to many people. I like to run. Yes, it tires me out, but I like to run because whatever distance I run, the beginning part is a little bit of effort. The ending part is a little bit of effort because I'm going, am I there yet? Or I'm going, oh my God, aren't I at the end yet? But the middle part is pure meditative bliss for me. And so, how do you get self care? You have to make a practice of it. So, you have to do the mantras. So if you want to interrupt these negative self beliefs, you need to make it a practice. With practice, you'll become a more adept at seeing your triggers, uncovering your why, some why they hurt you, and moving beyond letting in the negative thoughts that accompany them. Over time, you'll implement more and more self-care into your routine. Self-care is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a really difficult discipline for many people to implement into their life. But it is fundamental to all success, your personal success in life. Life becomes easier when you learn to take care of yourself. And like learning to take care of yourself includes healthy meals, activities like exercise. It also means physical activity and sleep. You always have a choice. As an example, a set of twins can have the exact same childhood trauma growing up, but end up on two entirely different paths. One could get mixed up in drugs, become homeless, and find themselves in a toxic relationship, while the other goes to college, finds love, and has a successful career. And most of us, if we have siblings, we just have to look at Christmas or a stressful family time, family holidays, and ask our sibling their take on an event that was stressful in a family dynamic and in family environment, and we you will most likely see that there are some big differences in everyone's experience. So when asked how you end up where you are today, oh sorry, I'm back to the story. Yes, I am reading a script, but I'm jumping all over the place to add my own thoughts and revelations to this. So back to the twins. So when asked how they ended up where they were today, they'll have the same answer. After everything I've been through, how could it have turned out any other way? The moral of this story is that you always have a choice in how you interpret events, circumstances, and interactions with others. You can choose to look for what's wrong or focus on what's right. So we put together a whole whack. So the Chopra, how to rewrite your story, the purpose, the psychology today had a whole bunch of uh, background information. So we've got PDF with all of this for you, and if you would like to receive this, you can email us at info@shindao and send rewriting your story as your subject line. Hey, that should have been send quote or yeah, open quote, rewriting your story end quote. Sorry about that. Okay, no wonder I can't read it. So we'd really, yeah, send us your, if you want to get more into this, if you want to take your lessons deeper than that I've shared today. There's lots more information available to you for spending your time with us or with me on this webinar. Oh, so I really want you to take the tools, and so I'll just add again. So email us at info@shindao, ask for the PDFs, and if that doesn't work, we'd love to hear from you firsthand. You can call us at area code 403-285-5266. Um, well, no, I don't have it. Uh-oh, that's not good. So, or you just, the easiest way is email us at info@shindao.com and or go to our website www.bestyoucanbe.ca. And if you're going to go to our website, you can go and you can get our uh, e-zine, which is produced every second Tuesday. You can register by going to bestyoucanbe.ca, and it comes out every 2 weeks, and it contains an inspirational article, or it could be thought provoking, a quote of the week, a link to an uplifting video, and most of the time we put the uplifting video a link to the topic. We try to merge those together, keep them the same, and it also gives you links to all our upcoming webinars, anything that we're our events. So yeah, we'd really love to have you on our email list. Or if you're a Facebook person and you love Facebook, Tina interviews um, people on Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Daylight Time, and you can go to facebook.com Shindao Institute. And it's a 30-minute interview, and it's all people living from the heart-based conversation. It's a beautiful, beautiful uh, time with Tina and whoever she's interviewing. I don't know about you, but whenever I learn from someone, I'm always curious as to know where they got their education. Who taught them? And so this is my sharing this little anomaly, this quirk that I have. So I've collected the wisdom from my teachers, who their teachers were. So I created a page, a membership site called The Wisdom of the Ages. So I am going back to 1928 to to some of the masters to take a peek at some of their works. The Tao Te Ching, which is from I think in the 14th century. It's so they're just beautiful resources. It's a paid one. You can tell that I'm really not promoting, like I'm not trying to say this is it. You have to buy this for the next 3 days. It's on sale for $9,999. No, 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 no. I'm saying if this you're curious and want to know more about learning from some of the masters that Wayne Dyer learned from, the movie The Secret was based on some of these ancient teachings. So yeah, check it out if you were called to. So that's pretty much. I'm going to say that I was quick, was fast. I sometimes, hopefully, it wasn't too fast. And if it was, you can just go back in time and rewind the webinar and re listen to it. I really enjoyed our time together. If you want to reach out, info@shindao.com. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm just going to jump back onto the chat, comment, see. Okay. Take a breath. Know that you are loved and you are important and you matter. So please take a moment, find out what your triggers are, find out what makes you happy. With that, namaste. Kneel out.